Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm Revel Shorty, and today we're going to take a look at Absolute Power Ground Zero. This is the kind of thing I don't usually bother reviewing, if I'm completely honest, for two reasons. Number one, it's an anthology, and I don't really have time to get into each individual story in here and break down the writing and the art and how they all complement each other. I will say that I prefer the Zdarsky one out of all for the storytelling. It's really, really cool. But the final one with the Gleb artwork, I've forgotten the surname, is absolutely spectacular. The character design of the Brainiac thing at the end looks brilliant. Like, Chef Kiss beautiful. But I'm not really going to talk too much about that. I wouldn't say, if you're already going to be interested in the event, then you are going to be getting this one. But I will say, as somebody who's only really going to be reading this comic book event because I own a comic book store and it's kind of in my interest to be aware of what's going on, I can't say I'm thoroughly excited about it. I kind of wanted to be more into it because Dan Mora's doing the artwork for most of this, and he is one of my favourite artists. Since he finished his work with Kieran Gillen on Once in the Future, I've been waiting for something to grab hold of me that he's doing. But so far, he's not worked with anyone that I've been a huge fan of. Don't get me wrong, Mark Waid, good writer, great writer, I'd say. But he's not somebody whose name pops. Don't get me wrong, some event stuff does grab hold of me. If you're going to get Kieran Gillen and Al Ewing and Suspiria working together, I don't give a damn if they're writing about, I don't know, anything really. X-Men I'll give it a shot to, and I did, and I enjoyed it because of the people involved. If you're going to put Ram V, Alex Pack-Nadal and Cody Ziegler on something, I'm going to check that out, even if it's not something you usually would do. The people involved in it do matter more to me than the story they're telling. But in this case, it is worth talking about the story they're telling. Because what we have here is Amanda Waller, who is effectively a kind of version of somebody who works for the CIA. I don't get too far into the details on this kind of thing, but we literally have a bit where they're engaging in political activity and murdering dissidents in a foreign country, which is very much what the CIA does in other countries. Is that what it exists for, really? And the parallels are definitely there, and I can see why they wouldn't just name it as the CIA. I do totally get that. But it does make me think about how we engage with media, particularly in these kind of stories. I don't really know anybody who would watch most movies and see the plucky underdogs, the people who are oppressed, the people who are fighting back against systems of control, and side with the systems that are controlling them. Everyone kind of understands that in the Hunger Games stuff, you're supposed to side with the rebels, not the exceptionally rich people with amazing haircuts. This is an almost universal thing. Don't get me wrong, in recent years there is some social media grifters out there who are trying to pretend that they didn't realise Homelander was a bad guy because now they can talk about it and get a whole bunch of engagement. But for the most part, people understand who the good guys and bad guys are in stories. But it's when you leave those stories behind and see the real world, I get a little bit confused about how people act in certain ways. Because what we're talking about here, again, is the CIA, part of an organisation, part of a huge structure, even within a democracy, is inherited power because it's inherited wealth. It's how capitalism works. People pass their wealth down into the same kind of families, into the same kind of systems, and they use that to control things. And it's how things work to maintain that power. The police are agents of the state and they exist to maintain power in certain places. Same with the armed forces, same with how you get your healthcare, same with how schools are organised. All these things are part of systems of control, and we're supposed to be against that. If you look at almost every bit of media, we see that these are the bad guys, the people who want to control this kind of thing. But we never see it that way in the real world. Maybe it's because we've been conditioned to think that there will always be a hero who will turn up. And when I say hero, I mean literal heroes, people who are good guys, your Supermans, your Batmans, your Wonder Womans, your Flash, all this kind of thing, they are there. And maybe it kind of tells us that in the real world, if everything's got as bad as they appear to do in comic books, somebody would be there to do something about it, and we wouldn't need to do it ourselves. Maybe that's the case. Maybe it's also the fact that whenever these can happen in comic books, for the most part, I mean, we're not talking V for Vendetta here, but in most comic books with the four-colour superhero kind of thing, the people who break down these systems to end the villainy don't actually destroy the systems, and they don't really do anything in a way which wouldn't be okay within the laws that are set up by the system to maintain control. I don't think at the end of this series Amanda Waller is going to be dethroned, her organisation will be pulled apart. I think she's still going to be putting bombs in people's heads to make them do what she wants them to do, including going to foreign countries and murdering dissidents. I think that's going to continue, because it is about maintaining the status quo, it's about the strange structures of power still being in place. I'd like to think if people read enough of these, maybe they'd realise that there is another way. Maybe people should go and read V for Vendetta a little bit more and actually engage with it in that way. But for Absolute Power, I think we're just going to get more of the same kind of thing. It's going to maintain the status quo in the comic book universe in the same way that it would get maintained in the regular universe. And for all the people, by the way, who've stuck with me for this entire little ramble I've done here, I will also say the artwork from Dan Mora, which you do get to see at the end, is absolutely fantastic. If you are going to give it a try, yes, Mark Waid is a good writer, Dan Mora is a brilliant artist. You should check it out. You should read it. I certainly am, and I'm hoping it's going to do something which actually surprises me, and that's probably the best thing I can say about it for now, though. Until I see you all again, though, look after yourself, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!